Hey guys, what's up? So this is a video all about the things that I think are essential to have when you have pet ferrets. I'm sure there are things that I don't have listed and things that maybe I do have listed that people might not think are as important. But to me, all of these things are very important to have because my ferrets use all of them every single day. So the first thing that is extremely important for your ferrets to have is good food. As obligate carnivores, they need a good protein diet. I currently feed them Origin cat and kitten food, and I think that it's extremely important to feed them just really good food. The next thing is that ferrets should have like fresh water every single day, and make sure that you're cleaning out their water dishes so that they don't get grimy and gross, because you don't want to drink out of grimy, gross cups, so why would your ferrets? Next, I think that it's extremely important for your ferrets to have good blankets. I got most of mine from Giant Tiger for like $3, so you don't have to spend a lot of money to get some good throw blankets. They just have to be like good quality, ones that won't tear easy or like fray a lot or whatever, just because if they do, start biting at it or ingest any of it, it can cause a blockage, and that would not be good. But it is good to have blankets because they bundle up in it together, and it's just, they like the warmth of the blankets. Along with blankets, I think that it is really important for your ferret to have hammocks or cubes or things in the cage that are hung up for them to lay in or on, I guess. We have 2 cubes in our cage, and we have 2 hammocks, and then we have like this crinkly hammock tunnel thing, and they use all of it. So I really think that it's good to invest in like some good hammocks and cubes for them to like lay inside of. I don't know what it is about them, but they just enjoy being suspended in the air while they sleep, I guess. Another really important thing that I think you should have for your ferrets is toys. You don't have to spend a lot of money. You can honestly go to the dollar store or like Walmart. I'm actually sitting in my ferret area and there's toys everywhere, so one of the things that we do have is my dog gets a bark box every single month, so any toy that he gets from bark box goes in the ferret area, and we spend most of our time down here anyways, so he has access to his toys all the freaking time, and so do the ferrets, and they mostly stash them, and then Simon will go to the stash spot, grab one of his favorite toys and bring it out and play with it, and then Vlad will usually stash it again as soon as Simon like leaves it alone for 5 seconds. So they all use those toys, and then other really good toys for ferrets are cat toys. So I have this like really disgusting looking just mouse. There's no squeaker in it, nothing, it's just a toy mouse. And then I have a ball with a bell. Eleanor absolutely loves these. She loves things that make sounds, and she goes absolutely crazy for them. So these are also really, really good to have. You just have to be careful that if they do break open and the ball falls out, that you're throwing it away. The next thing is litter boxes. You don't necessarily need to have a litter box if you want to use puppy training pads instead, but if you are going to use a litter box, it is good to use recycled newspaper litter and not like clumping litter or dust litters, because those are actually really unhealthy for your ferrets. So use like puppy training pads, or if you're going to use a litter box like we do, use the Yesterday's News or Fresh News brand litter. The next thing is claw clippers. You're going to want to make sure you're trimming your ferret's claws. It's really important because they can get really long, and they can break and get caught on things, which is really stressful for your ferrets. So you just want to make sure that you have clippers to trim their claws. I did have ones that were intended for like animals, like cats and stuff, and they actually dulled out after about 2 uses, and all they were doing was like splitting the claw, and they weren't breaking it off, and it was just ridiculous. So I actually just use regular nail clippers that I would use on myself. I use them for my cats and my ferrets, and they work perfectly. They do exactly what I want them to. I actually have a video that I posted a little while back about me trimming the ferret's claws, and in that you can see that I'm using just regular nail clippers. So I think it's really important that you're keeping up on that and have a good pair of nail clippers. You're also going to want to have a like safe play area for your ferrets, and you're going to want to make sure it's ferret proofed so that they can't get out of the area that you have designated for them to play in. If you have free roam ferrets, you're also going to want to make sure you've ferret proofed around where you live, just to ensure they don't find a hole somewhere and get out and get lost. But as for us, we actually have just an area sectioned off for our ferrets. It's half of our basement, and I've combined it with my book nook so that while I'm hanging out with them, I can read or I can you know, play with them and I can just kind of veg and do whatever. Something else that I think is really important for your ferrets is time out of the cage. This kind of goes along with having a safe ferret play area. They need at least 4 hours out of the cage every single day, and I think that it's pretty essential to give that to them so that they're not cooped up in a cage all the time. I let my ferrets out last night for hours, like pretty much until they went to sleep, and then woke up and came back out and played again and went back to sleep. So I often, on days that I have off, they're out literally 100% of the time. And on days that I work, they get about 2 to 3 hours out of the cage. So not quite 4, but I try and make up for it by on my days off letting them out constantly. I'm a homebody. I don't really care to go out a whole lot. And so usually on my days off, I do spend quite a lot of time with them, and I absolutely love it. It's one of my favorite ways to spend my time is with my pets. Make sure you're giving them tons of time out of the cage. So the last thing that you're going to want to make sure that your ferrets have is stimulation. Like I said before, toys are really good. It's always also really good to play with them with your hands, like just get them running around, play with them. And then another good thing too is if you do have more than one ferret and they have like a buddy or buddies that they can play with, that's also really good. I find that nothing gets my ferrets more excited than playing with each other. They will war dance together and they'll wrestle and they'll start duking, and no matter how I play with them, they never get as excited with me as they do with each other. But that is everything that I think is like essential to have for your ferrets. I'm sure there's other things that I didn't quite like think of or say. If there is other things that I didn't say, leave them in the comments below so that anyone who, you know, might be curious about what things they should have for their ferrets, they're not missing anything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye!